build?
Everything. So when I started, I didn't know if I wanted to be licensed, and I actually started out in Ignite. So my sponsor told me, why don't you take this great course, and it goes through the days in and out of a real estate agent, and you can see if you even like it. And so it required me calling through my phone book. That was a start, writing handwritten notes. And then when I got licensed, I joined a team, and he had me, calling internet leads, and I did do some door knocking. And I literally asked everybody I ran into, oh, by the way, who do you know looking to buy or sell a house? Because I was young, hungry, and desperate. And I lasted on that team for 3 months. And then I went on my own just to try it out. And then I've just been kind of on my own since. But when I started, it was open houses, door knocking to promote the open houses because I needed a reason. Telling all my friends, blowing them up on Facebook, social media, talking to strangers. My first sale was when my fender on my car was falling off. I rode into the Valvoline. The girl who helped me, I said, thank you so much. Let me know whenever I can return the favor. And I helped her buy her first home. It was $60,000. And it was the happiest $1,000 I'd ever made in my life.
That's awesome.
Yeah, but I mean, that's just kind of my reality. And like another guy, I think I got him because I was door knocking, promoting another open house. And then I followed up and then I got his sale. These are just some of the first clients I had. Someone else, I got them because he was just in the parking lot. And I was like, oh, hey, by the way, who do you know looking to buy or sell? And he's like, actually, I am. We ended up buying him a house in St. Matthews.
Nice.
Yeah.
So
I started.
So why don't we kind of walk through, I was talking to Shelly yesterday about door knocking, and a lot of agents talk about door knocking. Not many of them take the time to do it. Why don't you and I just kind of role play what a door knocking conversation sounds like for an open house? And then, if Shelly's the only one that's going to get on this morning, we are recording them, so it'll be posted. But I think if you I know you're great at winging it, Jess, and sharing all the knowledge that you have. So if you don't want to follow along with the Ignite PowerPoint and everything, like Shelly's smart as a whip. So, she'll be able to
thank you.
You're welcome. Because, our time costs money, right? So I don't want you talking till 11:30 just because.
Yeah,
I'm excited to be here. I mean, I hope other people come. From a training perspective, I hope for you that other people come. But if they don't, I'm delighted to be here with you. So.
Yeah, and Shelly, like, we do appreciate you and your time too. You're obviously here to learn and to get value. So whatever pain points that you have, or if you kind of want to tell us where you want to go, we can tailor it.
Perfect.
Yeah.
And
no
one else is
this will be more of a conversation.
Mm-hmm.
Excellent. I like it.
And Shelly, I'll apologize on behalf of us. This is the first time we're doing Ignite completely virtual. And like Jessica said, it is usually you'd make your calls, you're doing it all in person. It's usually like all morning. So it looks a little bit different this time around, but you're still getting the same educators and the same educating.
Yeah,
so
I have zero complaints, and it's just still a weird time. We've been doing this for, 2 or 3 months now, but it's just still weird.
Well, people are so zoomed out. Well,
yeah, we're a little zoomed out. Yeah. It's all right. So, it's all good.
Okay.
It's good.
Okay, perfect. So just let's walk into, what door knocking sounds like. I'll go ahead and be the agent first, and then we can flip it. Knock, knock, knock. Hi.
Hello. How can I help you?
Hey, good morning. My name's Krista, and I'm actually an agent with Keller Williams Louisville East. And I wanted to tell you a little bit about an open house I'm hosting here this weekend. Do you have just a second?
Sure. Open house?
Yeah, it's an open house. And I don't know if you've noticed, but homes in this neighborhood are selling like hotcakes. The market right now is really quick. Most homes are selling within 2 days, but a lot of them are getting multiple offers on day one.
Wow.
So the fact that we have this open house and we're holding it open so that we're not accepting any offers until after the open house, to be fair, so more people can come and take a look at it. I just wanted to share a little bit about it with you because you might have a friend or family member that would love to live in this neighborhood. How long have you lived here?
I've been here for about 3 years, and I love it.
3 years. And, has the neighborhood changed very much since you live here, or it's still, what you moved into?
I think it's still wonderful. We have quite a bit of turnaround here because, it's a starter home neighborhood. But other than that, I mean, it's still great. We have nice people move in.
Well, and I've been seeing so many families playing out on the street, and it seems like just a great area to own a home in. And I just know that some of these homes are actually rentals as well. So if you know anyone looking to get into investment properties, I'd be happy to tell you a little bit about that as well. But the home that I'm holding open is about 5 doors down, and it's a 3-bed, 2-bath, and the bedrooms are pretty similar, comparable to the rest of the ones in the neighborhood, but the kitchen has been completely updated. So it has nice countertops, stainless steel appliances. So they definitely spent some time on that. And the landscaping's really nice as well. The seller is a gardener, and so she has really spent some time on that. So I would love for you to stop by on Sunday. And I didn't know if there was anyone that you had that I could reach out to that might be interested in either looking at this one or looking at other homes to buy or sell.
Let me take one of your flyers, and I'm going to think about any of my friends who might want to move in. I know a couple of them have talked about moving, and I want them to move close to me, but I don't know if they're ready yet. So I might bring them by the open house if they don't have plans this Sunday.
Oh, I would love that. That would be great. And then what's a good email that I could send everything over to you about the home, just in case you want to send it on to them?
Oh, here it is. Writes it down.
Well, thank you so much. I will send that over as soon as I get home today. And then if you have any questions, I'll make sure I'll email you my cell number too. You can just feel free to ask anytime. But
Okay.
I hope to see you Sunday and hope you have a great day.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Okay. So that was like a super nice door knock. And door knocking is usually very fun when you actually get people to open the door and they start conversations. Then it's usually a lot easier to just like be yourself. So you don't have to be too salesy in these. Jessica, what feedback do you have from that?
So when I was knocking on the door, I would try to, my objective was to see if they knew anybody who was looking to buy or sell. And I tried to have them, ask them more questions. And I will say that when I was door knocking, I would probably budget about at least 1 hour to 2 hours because you're walking, you're waiting as they open the door. If you have great conversations, that takes time. And definitely, I thought it was great that you tried to get their information. You asked them if they knew anybody, and you asked them, you told them information, you added value to them. So they knew, oh, wow, the market's hot. There's one right down the street for sale. And a lot of times, Shelly, neighbors like to know because they keep track of their home values. So you might get a lot of potential sellers who roll through the open house.
Yeah, nice.
Yeah.
That's good.
Mm-hmm. And the way that I did it when I was doing the open house is I kind of planned it out. So you want to go 5, the street of, and then maybe the street behind the street on the other side, and then these two, just so you kind of hit it up. And I would
a block around.
Yeah, exactly. So I would kind of think, okay, I have a goal to hit up 25 to 50 houses, and those I didn't get to, I would just slide the flyer in their mailbox, and I would wait 10 seconds. I would ring a couple times, knock on it, and if not, I was like, okay, whatever. And then as I was walking, I would make notes about if I see a really junky house, or if I saw people in the driveway, then I would go and talk to them, any signs of life. Yeah, stop the walking neighbor. Hi, I'm just here promoting an open house. We wanted the neighbors to be the first to know because we know that you guys tend to know friends and family who want to move into the neighborhood, and we wanted you to be the first to pick your neighbor, essentially. And so then they have some kind of like, oh, vested interest, like that would be nice if my friend or my niece or whatever moved into this neighborhood. You know?
How do you feel, Sheila?
I'm sorry, say that again.
I said, how do you feel? It's not
Oh, I feel good. I've never done door knocking, actually. That is something that's kind of giving me the willies a little bit, quite honestly. I've never done it. So it's interesting to hear y'all talk about it.
Yeah, and as a newer agent, I tried a little bit of everything because we're going to go through a lot of different ways you can generate business.
Mhm.
But I think as you try them, you're going to find things that work better for you than others, and it's okay.
Yeah.
I remember when I started, it was so overwhelming because I felt like I had to farm, I had to mail postcards, I had to door knock, I had to do cold calls, you know, like it's just
All of
overwhelming.
it, yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So, you know, if you're just like, no, nix it, that's okay, you know,
I
but
mean,
if you're just
yeah.
like, I want to try it, why not?
Yeah.
Give it a
I
fair
would like to
shot.
try it with a buddy, I think. A
I
buddy.
recommend that.
Yeah.
I do recommend that.
Mhm.
It makes the
Okay.
time go by faster.
Yeah.
And you could tackle sides of the street at the same time so that we don't have to go back.
Yeah. And it's good moral support. And
Yeah.
also one thing you could do too is if like I always have a flyer with me, I try not to put the price on it because that way they're going to have to like call you or ask you for it. You want to omit some information from it. And then sometimes it's good if you partner with a mortgage lender because they have a marketing department. They can print that stuff for you. Make them walk with you because let's be real, a lot of lenders are working with tons of agents and they may not necessarily add value by being a referral partner to you all the time.
Right.
Make them add value by printing your marketing and putting the time into walking with you because you might run into somebody who's looking to sell or who wants to know what their house might be worth or they might want to refinance. And that way they can get the lead and you're kind of feeding them and they're like, you know, supporting you.
Yeah.
And it's really great moral support and they can give you feedback too. Like, hey, did you notice like blah, 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 you know?
Yeah, no, that's good. So I do have my two favorite lenders. I have one in my BNI and then I have one that I've known for about 7 or 8 years over at Statewide. But Dominique Ellis, do you all know her with Cross Country?
Sounds familiar. I do know
Dominique
Cross
Ellis. She's the only mortgage lender I've ever seen that shows up at open houses because I do a ton of open houses.
Mhm.
And she's so interested. She'd be a great person for all of us and then for, you know, new agents because I'll be a year in first week of August, I'll be a year. So, but she's a great one. If you don't know her, she's fantastic.
Yeah,
So
I've
she
seen the
shows up.
name.
Yeah, she's good peeps. She does a good job. So.
Great. Yeah, that would be a great start then. If you guys already
I
have
like
that
that.
relationship, just say, hey, Dominique, would you like to walk with me on
Yeah.
a Friday or Saturday? Let's go out for 2 hours. And you're killing a couple birds with a stone. You're
Yeah.
developing that relationship, you're
Yeah.
prospecting, and you're getting exercise. How fun
Yeah.
is
Well,
that?
she can talk to people about refinancing too.
Yes.
Yeah, that's right.
Yes.
That's right. It'd be a
And-
great option for her.
Mm-hmm.
I like
And
it.
so I did that once before, but it, you know, I didn't end up following up with them, but then I also like, it's also helpful because they can help you carry it, you know, or they can take
Yeah.
notes for you. Because I knew when I was door knocking once, I had taken lender with me. I've taken my admin with me. My admin had all the flyers. She had all the addresses printed out. And you just go to the PVA and you like print out all the addresses and the owners.
Right?
And as you walk by, you check it off. Or if there's notes, then you write a note. I actually had a listing appointment that way because I said,
Wow.
hey, we have buyers who are looking for homes in this neighborhood. And we were just wondering if you knew anyone who was looking to buy or sell in the next 3 to 6 months.
Nice.
What they say, and they're like, well, I'm thinking about selling. Oh, really? Tell me more about your home. Do you mind if I tour it? What's motivating you? And you just kind of go from there. And then just have them write down the notes as you're like talking, you know? And then you can always circle back around and follow up, always get their information. You never know what could happen.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah.
And if you can do the same amount of effort promoting your open house, but still get leads from it, and then you can follow up with them like you follow up with your open house, it's not feeling like a
Right.
lot of extra work.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. I've had very good luck with open houses.
I know, girl, you
That's-
like those.
That's been a great tool for me.
Okay, so do you want to like shift gears and talk about open houses, or
Yeah,
do
that's
you,
great. Sure, let's do that.
I'm gonna be right back.
Yeah, because it seems like that's a really great source of business for you. So is there anything, like, how's it going so far, and like, how can we make it better? Or are you having any pain points there?
I don't think so. I don't know. Sometimes, and when you're a new agent, this might stand out in your mind, but it's hard sometimes when you don't know what you don't know.
Yes, I agree.
So I've closed 2 houses from open houses.
Nice.
Yeah, so this is my son Jack, you all.
Hi, Jack.
Hello.
This is Jessica.
Hello.
Oh, and Linda. And Steve Nichols. This is my son Jack. So I've had very good luck with open houses, and met a ton of people who I'm nurturing. So I did an open house 2 weeks ago, the first one, and it was a super weird situation. I'm not on mute, by the way. It's a super weird situation. People were they had a very strange attitude. Everybody that came by didn't want to wear masks, almost like, I don't know if defiant is the right word, but kind of a little defiant. It was super weird. Last week's open house was fantastic, seemed normal. People were excited to be out. I had 8 couples come by. So it was great. So I'm not doing one this weekend. Looking forward to going, in a week from Sunday. But yeah, I like open houses. I like them a lot. So
Good.
The first one I did 2 weeks ago, people were coming in going, they'd walk in the door and they'd say, I have a realtor.
Yeah.
I mean, they're just cutting it off right away. I'm like, awesome. It's great. Good for you.
Do you make them sign in with their agent's name and number?
Couldn't get them to sign a piece of paper if I paid them the first week. Last week, I got everybody to sign.
What
So
changed?
maybe some, I don't know. It was like 2 separate planets worth of people. It really was very weird 2 weeks ago. No, it was the same. Jack just said, was it 2 different areas? Same house.
Okay.
So I don't know. So maybe talk about, how do you get people to sign in or leave feedback? I've used both methods, signing in and feedback. Maybe a good tips about that.
Sure. And by the way, I didn't notice that Linda and Steve, you guys had logged on. So hi, welcome.
Just popped in.
Hi.
How have you guys been here?
We couldn't figure out how to get on.
Oh.
We went to
I
the
don't know.
link. We went to the link that was on the email and couldn't get in. I couldn't get in. Linda texted me, asked me if I got on. I said no.
I was having a little trouble too.
And
Oh,
then,
sorry.
and then I guess Krista sent Linda the link, and then Linda sent it to me.
Okay. Cool.
But we're here now.
Yeah. Do you guys know Shelly?
We do.
Yes,
Okay,
famous,
yeah.
famous,
Yes, famous Shelly.
Yeah, so Linda and Steve have been doing this for a little bit too, so I'm sure they have excellent input as well. So it can be like a synergy. But what I would recommend, Shelly, is I just like put it off on the seller and say, hey guys, just so you know, the sellers are requiring everyone to wear a face mask if they are to come in. I'm so sorry. And especially if they have an agent, it's like, whatever, schedule it with your agent. You don't want, you want to invest your time helping. I mean, you want to help everybody.
Sure.
But you want to invest more time helping those who are not represented, and especially those who are going to respect you, right? So I would have the sign-in sheet and say, the sellers are requesting everybody sign in and to provide feedback before you leave. And then that way it's like pawned off on the seller, and they have to follow the rules if they want to see the house. And if you have someone else there with you and you're getting a lot of traffic, it could help, because if you kind of like fill them in ahead of time, then they know too, hey, yeah, just so you know, the sellers are requiring everybody to sign in. And then on the sheet, make sure you have name, number, email, and agent. Have
Yes.
them in their agent. Oh, great, you're working with an agent. That's fantastic. Who's your agent? And always say like, great things about him, of course. Like, oh yeah, Steve Nichols, great guy. Yeah.
Awesome.
Does that help?
Yeah, no, and that's, luckily, thank God, that's all the stuff I've been doing. I have really great support from my team, and we have an amazing admin, Cheryl Courtney. I don't know if y'all have met her yet or not, but she is I tell her everybody, and I tell her all the time, she keeps the wheels on the bus. So she really does. So we have a great sign-in sheet with all that information. So I'm glad that we are doing it right. So
Yeah, you just gotta be firm in a way. Like he's like, I don't mean to be rude. I know it's so annoying, but this is the seller's requirement, and I'm going to get in trouble if I don't do what they say.
that's right. Don't get me in trouble.
Exactly.
All right, awesome.
So I honestly am not the greatest at open houses. I stopped doing open houses a few years ago because I just didn't want to work on Sundays, and that was my choice. So I make it up in other ways.
Yeah.
Linda
So-
and Steve, or
I was going to say, I'm a second generation realtor,
okay.
and my mother hated open houses and used to complain about them and wouldn't do them and just, and I thought, so when I went to did the open house, I had some good luck, and then I was like, nobody showed up. So, I mean, I understand what her frustration was, but I really don't mind them. I really don't. So I do think that that's probably a personality preference.
I agree. And I think too, even if they are working with an agent, if you really do shine in your personality and how, and like there's different levels of open houses. I don't know if you've seen the 7 levels of open houses.
Mm-mm.
So most agent, I don't know if there's a chart for that. But I mean, I'm sure there is, find it, but most agents just show up, they stick the sign and then the balloons. But the 7 levels is stuff like door knocking before, promoting it with the neighbors, sticking pointer signs out early, having, flyers with information on them at the open house, knowing what has sold, how many, what the median or average price is, days on market, like knowing your market, that comes off very impressive. Having some other, or like even having like your laptop there that you can pull up the MLS and show people stuff on the spot, or giving them your app, like if you blow their socks off with how pleasant you are, how knowledgeable you are, and professional, if they're not happy with their agent, they might
They might
you
ditch.
know what, actually, I know I said I had an agent, but, or if you're like, if this house doesn't work for you, what are you looking for? Okay, let's go ahead and pull these up right now. There's actually 3 other homes that fit your criteria. When would you like to see them?
Yeah. And sometimes they don't. I think sometimes maybe they're not always truthful about having an agent.
Yes. And you can ask like, oh, how are things working so far? Or, I probably
Sure.
wouldn't like push that because
No,
to
I'm
be fair,
not going to poach them, but
yeah, exactly. If they're not
overtly
happy,
poach them. Right.
Yeah. Linda and Steve, do you guys have anything to add to that, or any questions? Or
I think what you just said was great. I've always heard that, but like the last open house I did, I took my computer with me. I'm trying to think. I think somebody had asked me something about the house and I didn't know because I was doing it for Mike Fogel. And I actually, somebody had asked a question about the house and I said, you know what, I don't know, but I have my computer. I said, I'm holding this open for another agent. It's their home, it's their listing. So I went over to my computer and I looked something up and then I told them like, oh, okay, thanks. But of course, everybody that came to my open house had an agent and almost everybody brought their agent with them.
wow.
But it was a Thursday night. I did it Thursday, I guess it's probably been 2 weeks now, but and they had just listed it, and I asked Mike if I could hold it open for him.
Okay.
So, and I know you had mentioned that you didn't like to do Sundays. I don't either. I like my weekends as free as I can keep them. So I'm trying to do open houses during the week. That's kind of my thing. I'm trying to get. If there was 4 or 5 good houses open in a week, I would, go on the market in a week. I would do probably all 4 or 5. But I'm trying to do a couple a week.
Steve, how do you find open houses? Like, how do you find doing them? Do you get good response? When do you do them?
During the week?
Tell me about that during the week, because I don't ever hear of anybody doing them during the week.
Well, I just started doing it. So I had really good response with the last one, other than the fact that, everybody had a realtor. But but it was, you know, with the way the market is right now, I mean, as soon as a house hits the market, everybody wants to get in it. So I just approached Mike and asked him, I said, do you have anything hitting the market this week, new listing? So I went back to Mike and I said, hey, I said, if you have anything new coming up in the next week or two, if you have price reduction that you know, let me know. I said, I mean, I'm going to show it.
Yeah, and there's actually some strategy to picking your houses. So you want to try to pick homes that are in hot price points and hot areas, because those are ones that get the most traffic.
Right. So,
Especially if you're going to do it during the week, you want a high traffic area.
Yeah. And are you doing it like dinner time?
I did it 4 to 6
4 to 6?
or 4 to 6 or 5 to 7. I can't remember. I think it was.
Okay.
I think I did it.
Sounds good, because that's when people are getting off work.
Yeah, that would seem logical.
Well, I'll be
5 to
honest with you. I
7.
didn't have as much traffic as I thought I would. I mean, there was somebody there before I was even in the door. And I said, can you just give me 5 minutes? She's, oh, sure. She goes, I thought you were done at 4 or something. I said, no, I started at 4. And she goes, oh, I'm sorry. I said, well,
Do you think, I'm sorry to interrupt you. Do you think the lack of traffic is because we train society to know that open houses are on Sunday?
I think that's part of it.
Okay.
I mean, that's my opinion, but yeah,
I think-
you know, I think the people that, like I said, the most of the people came with their agent. So their agent had obviously called them and said, hey, there's an open house on this house. Let's go see it.
That's cool. That's a really cool idea. I hadn't thought about that. Maybe I'll, ask around and see if any agents, because I don't have any listings right now. I'm working with buyers at the moment. But maybe I'll scope around and see if there's any agents who'd like me to have an open house for them during the week. See what happens.
And I'll tell you something else I did. I took a lender with me as well.
Yeah.
And I don't know if he got any feedback from it, but I enjoy taking a lender with me because.
Uh-oh.
What happened?
There you go. You're back.
Oh, I'm sorry. What happened? It's probably my stupid internet.
That's what I said.
Yeah, but if you take a lender with you, you got somebody to talk to if nobody shows up. But
And then for women, I think it's good for security purposes too. And every now and then you might have somebody who actually needs, who hasn't been pre-approved, or they want to compare their pre-approval. And there's a great script that I learned from Seamus, which is something along the lines of, have you been pre-approved? Are you paying cash? And they're like, oh, I've been pre-approved. Oh, great. Who did you get pre-approved through? And they'll tell you blah, blah, blah. And this is usually like if you're working with them or whatever, and they're like, you know what, that's really great. My lender is amazing. And you know how when you go to the doctor, let's just say you're getting surgery, you know how everybody works together as a team, the nurses, the doctors, they all just kind of know. They have cues and signals, they communicate well, they work efficiently together. And they're like, yeah, well, in the same way we work together as a team here. And, we have title company, we have a lender, we all just understand each other and we work very great together. Can you imagine if you're getting surgery and you said, you know what, doctor, that's great, but my sister is a nurse and I want her to be in your operating room. They're not going to necessarily know how the procedure goes and how everyone communicates, and it's not going to work, as smoothly. Would you rather they have their team working efficiently? And they're like, oh yeah, for sure. It's like, well, in the same way, my guy is really great at whatever lender. At the very least, let me have him call you to verify you're getting the best rate and the pre-approval as possible. And he'll let you know if he can't beat it. But if he can, he's going to make sure you get the best rate. His name is blah, blah, blah. Just watch for a call for him. He said it a lot better than that, so you can ask Seamus what it is. I've used that a couple of times, and I actually have people who be like, okay, that's fine. And then I'll just—
That sounded good.
Yeah.
That's a great analogy.
it's really good. Spoken like a true car salesman.
He does it a lot better. But yeah, Linda, you were going to say something, I think, earlier.
I remember.
It'll come back.
It'll come back.
A thought that I had about the weekday open houses, Shelley, you made a point. Have we conditioned society to doing them on Sundays? If we have, then how can we train them
Yeah.
to come to our weekday open house?
I
It's
think-
planning, it's promoting,
Yeah.
You know,
Blowing it up on social media.
And that,
signs, balloons.
Yeah.
and I think that was my point is if we're going to do them during the week, I think we have to promote them a little bit differently. And I think that was the problem with Steve's, is that he just found, he found out about it one day and he only had one day to prepare.
Mhm.
Because it was not going to last. And that's kind of the problem with doing them during the week right now, because they do go so fast.
Yeah.
Unless it's a situation where you're going to hold it open on a Thursday and maybe, the seller isn't wanting to review offers until Saturday or Sunday.
Mhm.
Right.
I've also had really good luck with the price drops. If you look for a home that's been on the market maybe just a little bit and you check with that agent to see if they're going to do a price drop, because that's going to generate that back up on the hot sheet again. And I've had great success with active under contract homes. They're not pending, they're active under contract. They still show up like on Zillow and all of those sites as active. So you might not necessarily, you have more people that come through those that don't have agents. Most of people that have agents probably, their agent isn't going to send that, but usually everyone that has come through my open house that's been active under contract has not had an agent.
So
Smart.
I love, Linda, what you just said about maybe we need to promote them different ways. So how would you promote them differently?
Me personally, if I've got an open house during the week, I would probably, of course, on the weekends I do it too, but I would make it more of a priority to either door knock or call the neighbors.
Okay.
Just to invite the neighbors, and they're good conversations to have. They're fun conversations to have. They're easy conversations to have. And it just kind of helps generate the buzz. I did that for one open house in St. Matthews, and it was so funny. I had more neighbors that came by the open house, and by the time I left, I knew who on the block had made the best margaritas. I knew, and they really helped promote the neighborhood with the guests that came through the open house.
Mhm.
Because they could feed on that energy, and that was probably one of the best open houses that I had. I actually took that, afterwards I went and found out, okay, Paul and Nancy were at this address. What was that address? So I rode by their house and wrote down there, and I actually sent them cards after the open house.
Mhm.
That's fun.
Handwritten notes.
Yeah.
That's nice.
So they were there in fact, they came over and said, hey, we hadn't seen anybody come in yet. We just wanted to introduce ourselves. And about that time, people started coming in, and they just started building up the neighborhood. So if you can get neighbors in there to help build up your neighborhood.
Probably a little social
Yeah.
gathering too. Probably really opportune time since people have been stuck at home and not really seeing folks too much.
Yeah.
That's interesting, open houses during the week. I like that idea.
Something, I don't know, Shelley, if you were on one day when I was talking about, and this was at the very beginning when I got on online here, getting people to sign in.
Mm-hmm.
What I did at that open house, I had a $25 Starbucks gift card.
Yeah.
And I did a drawing, and I told everybody, I said, hey, if you'll sign in, I said, I'm doing a drawing for $25 Starbucks gift card. So I said, as long as I can read your information, and I'll know who to send it to.
I remember you saying that, a couple weeks ago.
I didn't know
He's nicer than me.
And I'm tell you what, everybody that came in, they're like, oh, wow, great. And everybody signed in, and I could read everybody's.
Nice.
I could
That's
read
smart.
everybody. So.
That is smart. I do that for like events, like if I'm doing a festival or something, and people are coming by and I'm trying to get them to come to the table. I'm like, oh, I'm giving away this gift card, blah, 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 and, sign in. I like that. I need to be able to read it though, Steve. That's important. I like that part.
It makes sense. If I can't read it, I can't contact you.
Well, I feel like people feel like they're obligated, and then they get their pen and they're like, and so they signed in, but you can't read it. So therefore you can't bug them.
Mm-hmm.
I don't take, I feel like I'm hijacking you, Jessica. I'm
No, you're
sorry.
good. This is a discussion.
Yeah, this turned into an open discussion, which is cool. I like it.
One thing that I've started doing that I've had a lot of success at too, as far as getting information, I don't take anything with me. I don't print out. I
You
might
said
have,
that.
I might have a few, information sheets, but I don't print out disclosures. I don't do anything like that. So of course I make myself familiar with what's on the disclosure. And then if they're interested in more information, I'll say, great, give me your information. And then while, right, if I'm kind of close by, I'll go back and look, and I will say, hey, let me just verify what this is. Is this,
Mhm.
Linda Hill at whatever.
Right.
And I try to catch, you can do that if you don't have a lot of, if it's not real busy. If it gets busy, it's harder to do that. But
Right. Cool. I like that idea.
And I will say too, the questions that you ask people can really affect your outcome too. So I know one script that people ask is, after they look at the house and it's feedback and they like it, it's like, great, would you like to submit an offer? And just wait, just go for it. In another script that I've heard before too is, there's usually 3 types of people who come in an open house. There are those who are just looking to purchase, and there are those who are looking to sell. Which one are you?
Oh, that's good. That's good.
And I was just thinking too, when you're door knocking and promoting it, because it goes back to, was it Linda who made the point about like your neighbors really help to sell the neighborhood, like the ones who come in. One question you could ask them when you're promoting the open house, when you're door knocking is, in addition to how long you've lived here, what do you love most about the neighborhood? And then when they tell you how long they've lived there, it kind of gives you a hint, because you know that people move every 5 to 7 years on average. If they have lived there for 7 years, do you think they might move soon?
Maybe.
And if they lived there for 1 year, then they're probably staying for a while, maybe,
Right.
statistically.
Right.
So then you can also like drive the conversation depending on their response.
That's really good.
Yeah,
You know?
statistically, if they're there 7 years, they could be ready to start thinking about it.
Yeah, and like, let's say it's like a $400,000 neighborhood, it's like huge houses, and it's like, oh, so is it just you here, or the family? It's like, oh no, it's just me and my husband. Wow, such a big house. What about downsizing?
Right.
I think you have to be like upfront like that. But you say like, oh wow, like how long have you lived here? Oh, is your family just you and your husband? Oh, just me and my husband. Oh, okay. You must really love it. Neighborhood, or what do you love about it? Or they might just volunteer the information like, yeah, we love the neighborhood. That's the only reason that we're staying, here so long, but it is a lot of house to upkeep. Oh, fish for those hints, kind of like guide them to that.
I love how people just tell you stuff and you have to pay attention, but they'll tell you anything you want to know.
Yes.
A lot of times unsolicited, which is cool.
Yeah.
So,
So I think that alone can level up your open houses, like the next one that you
yeah.
do. But it does work. It is not as easy as people think our job is. Like,
Right.
for people to just have successful open houses, it takes hours of preparation,
Yeah.
promoting. And I just don't think agents realize it. Like all the stuff we're talking about takes time. You're going to be tired.
And especially if you're going to do an open house that is not your listing, make sure that you take the time to talk with the agent. One of the most common questions that I get asked at an open house is, well, why are the sellers moving? So trying to find out as much of the seller's reason for moving, motivation, again, what they love about the house, what they love about the neighborhood, just making sure that you're having really good conversation with that, the listing agent, if you're doing it for someone else.
And I do all mine for other agents just because I've only had one listing as an agent in a year. all my other success has been through the buyer side. So I do Rhonda's open houses and some of the other girls on our team. So, and I've done open houses for other agents when we were still at Remax. They would call up and say, anybody want to do an open house? And I'm like, yeah. So, no, I love that. Why are the sellers moving? Because people ask me that all the time. And to me, I would not ask that question because I wouldn't care. Like, I wouldn't care. But so
I'm
I'm
like
always
you,
curious.
and I don't understand why they ask that, but they ask it
I'm
every
always
single
curious.
time.
Or I have a buyer right now I'm working with who's buying a house in Shelbyville, and she's like, well, how many other families have lived here? Why is that important? But I guess it's important to her for some reason. So just interesting questions, you know.
Dig deep.
Yeah,
Like, oh,
yeah.
that's an interesting question. What about that's important to you, Mr. or buyer?
Yeah, and I asked her about that, and she just said, because she just wanted to know.
Yeah.
Okay.
I have clients who've asked me that before too, and I was like, I can find out.
Yeah, that's what I did. I called the listing agent, so
Yeah.
love about the house. This is
So, yeah,
great
open houses-
conversation, you all. By the way.
Great source of business.
Yeah, I like them. What else do you want to talk about?
Batter up, Jess.
Well, I mean, what else do you guys want to talk about?
So I have a question for you. You're a single agent. You're not on a team, correct?
That's right.
So as a single agent, aside from open houses, where else do you find your business? And what do you do to nurture that?
Okay, great question. So right now my business is a lot of sphere and referral and repeat, thankfully. And I will get some people who will reach out to me because they saw my review or my listing online, like sign calls. And so it's about leverage, and all of that kind of adds up. But the goal is to build a referral-based business because you're, putting less effort into converting the lead. If it's a referral, they've already got that trust for the most part. And I don't even really have to sell myself because my referral person has already sold me for me. And so I think part of that is developing and nurturing your relationships. So little things that I would really do on the regular is even small things like people's birthdays, wish them a happy birthday. After every closing, keep track of their information, record a 3-month follow-up. For what I do is I do a 1-month follow-up, 3-month follow-up, 6-month, and then an annual. And I just put that on repeat. And then I write them, try to write them birthday cards, anniversary cards, and then I call or text them at least just to follow up on the card. Because a card, anyone could have written that, even though they know like it's me. Christmas, and then I do like a Thanksgiving event. And also changing the conversations that you have around people is like, if you're talking about real estate, or like if they talk to you about real estate, kind of like dig deeper and ask more like, oh yeah, you're asking a lot of questions. Are you thinking about making a move anytime soon? Or if I'm asking people like, are you still living here? Oh, how long? Like, when did you move there? Do you plan on staying for a while? And then people know, like some people know you're in real estate. Some people you have to remind them. And then I'm always, or like, you kind of drive the conversation a little bit like, oh, how's work? Because people reciprocate. And then they're like, oh, well, how's work for you? You tell them about the market and kind of give them a chance to comment on it. Like, oh, wow, really? It's that hot? It's like, yeah. Do you know anyone who might want to sell and take advantage of this market? Are you thinking about moving anytime soon? And just like kind of go for there. And if they don't really respond, just like kind of move on, but at least you're kind of always bringing it up with them. And they kind of still remember that you're doing it. And if they drop any hints that they're looking, you take that and you follow up accordingly. Another thing is like I work with some investors. It's hard at first especially if they're new. So you really have to invest in them. And the way I see it is if you're in this for the long haul, then you're going to be there to reap the fruit. But if you're just trying this out and you're looking for like that quick sale, you're not going to invest now into planting that seed because you're probably not going to be around to, reap the reward. And when I started, that was actually really flawed thinking for me because I was like so desperate and hungry that I was like, people kept telling me it's about the relationship, it's about the relationship. And I was like, I know, but I really don't feel like nurturing it. But now I'm actually seeing repeat referrals. And I was just like, I'm just going to trust and have faith that this works because people who are like doing this a lot longer and are more successful are telling me that this is the way to go. And it's unanimous across the board. So I nurtured the relationship, and like people, like I had a guy who called me. It was like my wife and I were literally just talking about moving, and you were the first call we made, and we knew. And then, one of his best friends, they didn't even know that the other was gonna buy. He was like, I just told you, man, whenever I'm ready to buy, you're my girl, but I was just never ready until now. And they're both looking in the 200s. I went to school with them. So, but I'm not going to sit around. My hope is not in like whether they're going to buy or not. You never know what's going to come out of that relationship, and you just nurture it. Another client I have right now, they're buying land, they're going to custom build. I got the buy for their house, and then another agent got the sale because I was friends with the husband and the wife was friends with another agent. Well, guess what? I stayed in touch with them all these years. Now they're going to sell their house, they're going to build a new one. And I don't even know if the other agent's licensed anymore. And so but I genuinely enjoy them. And so I think when your focus kind of shifts and you're just about like adding value to people and just like being that person who people know they can trust and like reminding them to, and like social media and stuff, like I put stuff on my stories when I'm working, and I have my Facebook page, I invite everyone to like it, then more people than not know about you, but they just are not ready yet. And so when I'm asking those questions and I'm like, and like people who are closer to me, of course, I'm like, hey, who do you know who's looking? And I was like, I always have to ask. And they're just like, yeah, I know. But I think, yeah, that's part of like nurturing those relationships over time is like asking for referrals, following up with them. And they're going to know people like, oh, my cousin's thinking about moving. And you do and my goal right now is to do such a great job taking care of these people that anybody, and I tell them up front, my goal is to take such great care of you that, by the time we finish or like close on your home, you're going to think of at least one person from church, from school, from work, who might be looking to make a move that I can help. And my goal is to get 5 out of 5-star reviews from you. And then I outline what that looks like. And I have the thing called the promise. And I give it to them. I say, this is what you can expect from me. And it says, I'm going to communicate with them often. If they're under contract, they're going to hear from me at least once a week. I'm going to look out for their best interests, all this stuff. People don't get this from agents. They're like, whoa, what? And yeah, just make it such a great experience for them. And the referral chain happens. And I'll tell you a couple of referral chains I had. So one guy, he messaged me on Bigger Pockets because I just made an account and he was starting to invest and he wanted to like buy some property. So I helped him and some partners get 3 triplexes. And this was like when I first started, maybe six years ago. So I got the buy on that. And then he said, my dad's looking to buy a house. I help him buy a 300 something. And then his dad said, my friends are looking to buy. I help them buy a 300 something. And then his dad was like, hey, I think about selling my condo to my son. And I just told him straight up like, hey, you know what? You don't need me for this. All you have to do is transfer the deed. And he's like, okay. And so they did that. Fast forward this year. Last year, he says, okay, the partners are done. We need to sell these 3. So I sold all 3 of those for them. That was like $450. And then this year, his dad says, hey, I'm ready to move. I want an extra garage. We're under contract for like a $550. He needs to sell his $420. His son just bought a $350. And they need to sell the condo for $150. All that started from, and they have friends who need to buy, but they're expecting a baby. So it's like, okay, how much came from that? And that's just, it started with one person. I have other examples like this
So,
too.
so what I'm hearing you say is like when you first started, you really hit your sphere pretty hard, and
Yeah, but my sphere at the time was, really poor, still in school, still renting. And so I knew I had to go out. And I started on a team for 3 months. And I was telling Shelly this, I did everything that they told me to do. I tried all of the methods: door knocking, open houses, calling everyone, handwritten notes, talking to strangers on the street. That helps. Like I have the first house I sold, it was a $67,000 house off of Poplar Level Road or Preston to a girl who worked at Valvoline because I pulled in, my fender was falling off and she helped me. And I said, thank you so much. I so appreciate you. Let me know when I can ever return the favor. And it wasn't like salesy. It was just like, I'm coming from contribution. I want to help you. And this is what I have to offer. And that was my first sale. Another guy, I got from door knocking, promoting an open house. And some people are really impressed by your work ethic, and so it's just kind of like, it all comes back to who you are, I think, and like what they feel you have to offer. And of course the trust. And then like someone else, I got him because, and this is when I first started, he was in the parking lot when we were at the old building. And we were just talking. I was like, oh, you going in this building too? Yeah, okay, blah, 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 blah. By the way, who do you know who's looking to buy or sell? And he's like, I am. And then I got him, to help them. So I just talked to everybody, shameless, everybody when I first started. And networking events, and that's how I got this current buyer who I helped them buy their house, now they're building. Met him at a networking event. I said, brother, I love your tie. Or like, I love the color of your shirt. That's how it started. So I just, went everywhere.
so you just have to ask. You just have to ask for it.
Exactly. But I mean, I was so hungry, I didn't really care. And now, I mean, I'm still kind of hungry, but like, I think I'm doing better now. And like, I'll tell you about the current clients that I'm working with. One is a referral from a friend who I met through a friend. And he was like, I know a lot of realtors, but I trust you. And he will like nag the snot out of his people to call me. They're like, Ali said I had to call you. He said he trusts you and you're the best. I'm like, I need to give this guy something. And so it's also kind of like when you develop those relationships with people who really know you, they will advocate for you. Like my dad, he'll run into people and he's like, oh, you need to talk to my daughter, And so, but he's my dad, I guess. Thank you, Dad. So like he'll send people to me. And like sometimes like investors, like, I never finished my point. So I work with some investors. It is a lot of work, but I run comps for them. I don't just do the whole like half mile sold, I actually look through as if I was going to list a house, and I give them a range and I tell them why I think. And I have a couple of investors, if they're flipping a few, then you're going to get the list on that. And if you help them buy right, then then they should be on point to sell right. And then it'll have your commission in there. So and some wholesalers that I work with, I tell them, hey, if this doesn't work out for you and they don't, the numbers don't work out, I'd be happy to list it. And I have developed that relationship, right? It doesn't immediately pay off. If you want to get rich quick, I don't think real estate is the way to go, honestly. But I nurtured that relationship. There's been enough trust developed where people will ask him, who ran your comps? And he's like, Jessica, you. And they're like, oh, you're good. That made me feel really good, And so he'll tell me like, hey, this guy, he's looking to sell. It's not going to work out for us. Here's his number. And I'll call them. And so that's like another source too. But all this is it's from the relationship. It's just like, what pain points are you having? How can I help you? And doing such a great job and doing it with like a glad heart, I think people will notice the difference and they will remember you and like refer you. And if it's not even a sale, you never know what could happen. You'd benefit from a great friendship, So, okay, off my soapbox.
No, it's good. I like it. Good stuff.
How long have you been a realtor, Jessica?
I've been licensed for over 7 years. So I got licensed in October 2012.
Nice.
Are you licensed in Indiana?
I'm not, and that's another thing too, is I have a partner in Indiana. I'll send her my Indiana referral. She sends me her Louisville.
Right. I mean, I'm not making enough money to stretch out and go that far. But occasionally I'll have clients that'll say, or I'll talk to people and they'll ask me, are you licensed in Indiana?
Mhm.
That I'm not, but I can definitely connect you to somebody that is.
Yes.
So I always say that. Yeah, I mean, I just don't know if it'd be worth it. I'm not there yet, you know.
Yeah, and that's okay. I just don't care to go to Indiana. Like, I barely recognize it as a state, so I'm happy referring it out. There's just too much going. Oh crap, you're recording this. It's not 100% true, you know. But like, I'm just like have my hands full here, so I gladly refer it to my partner who does great work over there. And I know she can, you know, she'll take care of them. And then she does the same for me with her Louisville people. And that's another thing too, Steve, is you'd be surprised how much you can make from referrals. If you have friends, if you're keeping up with people, even if they're in another state,
Mhm.
do you really fear if they're not looking to buy or sell? Because it's not like you're going to get the sale anyways, but you can get the referral. And
Yeah.
so some people might say, oh man, I love your videos. Like, too bad I'm not buying or selling in Kentucky, or I would totally hire you. And I'm like, you know what? I can still help you. We have a nation, you know, I have a huge network all across America, and I can have an agent who is just like me, if not better, who can work with you. So if you're any of your friends, whenever you're ready to buy or sell, let me know. And instead of calling some guy, random dud off a sign, or calling someone on Zillow who's paying for your clicks, I can get you connected with someone who actually has a track record and will take care of you. How's that sound? I've gotten referrals that way from
That's
people
good.
who are moving to Atlanta, you know, people who are moving to Georgia, or people who are in another state. And if your friends are moving, the first thing you should ask is, oh, you're moving, congrats. Do you need a great agent out there? And then that's when you're like, who do you know who is in Wichita, Kansas?
Any
You know?
state but Indiana,
Yeah,
because it's not a state.
yeah, exactly.
Barely.
So that's another angle you can take, especially if you have friends in California and New York and they know you're in real estate and they trust you. Get you a piece of that pie. Don't let them go for some, you know.
Yeah. Well, I've told
Bad agent.
my dad lives in Mobile, Alabama, and I've told him, you know, we talk, he always asks me how the real estate's going. We talk about it quite often. I told him, I said, well, if you know anybody down there that's looking to buy or sell and they need an agent, I said, let me know. I can connect them to somebody.
Yeah, go a step beyond that.
What about those friends you have that live in Hawaii that are moving back to Kentucky?
They need to sell. I have a great agent in
Well-
Hawaii I can refer you to.
No, I think they're military housing over there. He's military, so, but they're moving back here, and they're going to be looking to buy something.
Perfect.
Nice.
So, yeah, I
Steve,
think they're
how
military
long-
housing.
I'm sorry. It's so hard on Zoom. I feel like I talk over people sometimes. How long have you been an agent, Steve?
2 years.
2 years. Okay, awesome. Very good.
Yeah. Sometimes it seems a whole lot longer.
Yeah, it takes a little bit to ramp up, but I think the
Yeah.
benefit of being with KW and being on a team is that you can move forward faster, so much, faster.
Well, my first year was just being constantly overwhelmed, really not know what I was doing, trying to figure. I mean, I just did it as I did it, and I would like, hey, what do I do here? You know, I just went to an agent, but there was no learning.
Mm.
But my second year, I wish my first year would have been like my second year.
Yeah,
Like
me too.
Like this last year.
Me too.
Yeah,
we
that
all-
first year you weren't here.
Yeah,
Right.
that's true.
That's why I say your years in real estate don't start until you start here.
Yeah. And you know,
This year didn't count.
My first year, so I've only been an agent for 1 year then.
Whip you
I've
in
been an
shape.
agent for a month.
yeah.
What'd you say, Krista?
I said, we'll whip you in shape. You know that.
I know.
And what I love about our culture in our office is like, at least for me, I feel like I'm always humbled because I feel like such a tiny fish in like a big pool, and people are so willing to share and teach you. And every time I have a mistake or a failure, you can always talk it out with somebody and think about like, what can I do better? You know, I'm always reflecting after, like, I think seriously, I'm starting to time block because I used to be just like back to back to back to back to back. I would forget that I needed to put some space in there for driving. But like, you know, information is just information unless you use it, and failures are failures unless you learn from it, right? So like after every open house or after every phone call, I'm asking myself, how did that go? What went well? What could I do better? And if I really had a fail, like I'll say recently, I told Krista about this. I lost a sell buy because I rushed through it. It was a bad day and I was not tactful with my words and they didn't feel I was a good fit. That devastated me. And then I was working a really bad cross-sale agent. But I was like, you know, it forced me to think about it. And then I had to drive by that house yesterday on my way to another appointment. It was awful. But like, you know, I was like, okay, I totally that up. What went wrong? How could I have done better? And I talked it out with some agents and my coach, and I was like, okay, you know what? That's not happening again, ever. I don't know how I got on that point, but anyways, I love KW. So glad that each and every one of you are here.
Stop.
Okay. Is there anything else you guys want to talk about? About generating business?
Are you doing Facebook ads?
I only boost it when I post like a video for a listing. But
Okay.
honestly, I was born in the wrong generation and I don't like social media. I barely get on it. Like I'll just post stories and then I hop off. I don't know what's going on. But yes, I do boost if I'm promoting something.
And any luck with it?
I have some people message me, but for me, it's more about right now. I'm not the best person to ask, but it's more about building that awareness in the brand and getting eyeballs on it. So people see me
Right.
and they're like, oh, wow, that house looks cool, you know? And then also like my friends will see it and they'll reach out like, hey, I really like that condo you posted. So, but I haven't converted yet. You might want to talk to someone else who actually converts.
Yeah.
I think John Miller converts pretty well from.
Yeah. I'm working with John. Me and Linda are, so I'm hoping, I'm going to hope to get start putting a Facebook ad or two and try it, see what happens.
Through command. Do you work the command, Jessica?
I'm so old school. I use like Google Calendar, Google, like my Excel.
Right. I'm old
Don't do
school
that.
too. I mean, I'm old school too, but I'm trying to learn, you know, if it's working for somebody, you know, why not try it?
Yeah. And
You
I will
got to do
say,
what works for you.
exactly. And I will say that for me, I know that I tend to be better when people meet me in person because they can see and feel all of my personality. So I haven't actually paid for any Zillow ads or anything like that. That's marketing. You know, we're talking about prospecting. Prospecting is like, you know, going after the people. Marketing is like bringing it in, but it costs money. So you want to think, because when you're spending money, you have to hold your money accountable. And so I'm okay spending like 15, 20 bucks on an ad that's promoting a video, but I really get the most ROI from writing thank you notes, you know, expressing gratitude, maybe giving them a $25 gift card because I'd rather give that to you than to Zillow or something, you know. Just building that, nurturing that relationship, investing in people, you know, people are an asset to you. So if I have that marketing dollars, I'd rather do it to something we can enjoy together. Hey, let's go get dinner. You know,
Exactly.
I appreciate you.
Yeah, I've been told, I mean, of course I get, you know, you're told different things, but you know, if somebody says, well, if you're going to spend X amount of dollars, you know, a week, spend that money, and you know, because it's not really enough that's going to get you a lot. Money and connect with an old friend and take somebody to dinner, take them to lunch, take 5 people to get coffee.
Yeah.
And that's actually kind of what I've been starting to focus on. And of course, everybody here knows that is that I'm building and regrowing relationships. So that's, and then just taking a different approach on things.
Think the well before you need it.
Right. exactly. And I don't want to spend a lot in advertising.
Mm-mm.
I don't. And that's why, Facebook ads are reasonably cheap. A cup of coffee is reasonably cheap. Dinner, depending on where you go, is reasonably cheap. There was a lady that I used to work with, and she's really successful. She built her business, but she had a couple rich friends, and she got to know them, and then she would take them to nice dinners.
Mm-hmm.
And then while she was out to a nice dinner with them, she goes, "Who do you know?" Like, and then they would connect her to somebody that was wealthy. And
Mm-hmm.
she'd call them up, say, "Hey, I'd like to get to know you. Can I take you to dinner?" And she'd take them to nice dinners, like Bruce Chris.
Mm.
But of course, she had the money to do that. But
Yeah.
I mean, if I had the money to do it, I would too. But obviously, I don't. I can't even take myself.
So I actually went to a mastermind in Cincinnati a year ago before I was team leader, and there's an agent up in Northern Ohio that every closing he has, he invites either the buyers or the sellers, and he tells them to bring 2 friends and takes them to dinner, that group, like not a super expensive one, but then he builds rapport with the friends, already having rapport with the clients,
I
and
love
he
that.
gets a lot of leads from that.
Actually, that's a really great idea because I'm already doing the first part. I just need to tack on the second part.
Yeah,
Right?
because they're already friends, so it makes it more fun, and you don't know them, so you have more to talk about, but then they also trust you as a person, so.
Great idea. Thank
I
you.
love that
I'm
idea.
gonna do that next time. But yeah, back to your point, Steve. I totally understand. When I started, like it was totally ramen noodles. I couldn't afford to just take all my friends out to eat, and so I just went and talked to everyone. And the thing too is, even if you're not getting a desired outcome, you're going through the process. You're getting better at scripts. You're getting more comfortable talking to strangers. You're gonna fail a lot. You're not gonna convert a lot, but it's better than not trying. And the worst thing I see is like, it's a stranger. I may never see them again. So I would actually use strangers to hone up my skills. And if I
Yeah.
was feeling really and bold helped me that way, it forced me to talk to people. But like, why not? You never know. I mean, I got my place by talking to the barista at the drive-thru in Starbucks. Off market, as is, got a pretty good deal on it. He was going to sell his condo. I was going to list it, but I was like, wait a minute, would I want it? I bought it. So you just never know.
Right.
And they might know somebody too.
Yeah.
And the places you frequent, make sure they know you're in real estate. Go ahead.
I think
Yeah.
where I struggle, and I think that maybe a lot of new agents may as well, is, we'll talk to our friends, but then we fall short in asking for the business.
Mm.
So we take the time to reconnect,
Mm-hmm.
because I've got a lot of people that I haven't, and if I reconnect, we have a great conversation, but then I fall short of, hey, don't forget,
Why?
I'm in real estate. Who do you know?
Why do you think we leave that last part out?
Probably because I'm guessing it's because we don't, or I don't want to come across salesy or something like that, I would think.
Mhm.
And I know that there's a bold law. What is it? Don't compare your insides to some others. What is it? Don't compare
Don't
your
compare your
insides.
insides to other people's outsides.
Yes.
Mhm.
So I assume what they're thinking or what they're going to think when I shouldn't.
I hear ya.
Well, and then too, I think we assume, well, they know we're a real estate agent.
Mm-hmm.
Why wouldn't they send us business? Like, well, they know that. But I mean, I have a friend, Mary Rose Halsey, she's at Republic Bank, invited me to come back to BNI. I used to be a member of, and I'm in a BNI in Shelby County that I started. And I said, well, yeah, I mean, I'll come back and visit, but Drew Wisdom is the realtor in that group. I said, and he and I are friends. I said, but so I don't want to make it weird. And she's like, no. But I think for a minute, she forgot I was a real estate agent. because why would she invite me to Drew's group? Why would she do that? So I was like, well, make sure it's okay with Drew first. And of course he's like, oh yeah. But I think people, maybe they forget. I don't know.
I think it's true, and you're never going to match it up all the way because nothing is a blanket statement. You're going to really have people who are going to know you're in real estate, and there's going to be people who will forget you're in real estate. And it sucks when someone else buys a home. And some people, they have their reasons. They probably don't want to make it personal. They're like, I don't work with friends. And some people, you know, they might feel bad and dodge you, but you have to ask yourself what's more important, you know? And so I always just slide it in like, hey, let me know if you know anyone who's looking to buy or sell real estate. I'm happy to help. And it's just a nice reminder.
What you just said. So one of the houses I have right now under contract in Shelbyville, it's a lady in my BNI, and we're becoming friends. I didn't know her real well. I knew her through another friend of mine. And she said to me, I'm going to join your BNI. And by the way, my husband and I need a house. I was like, well, okay. And she goes, my best friend's an agent. And I said, oh. I said, you should probably talk to your best friend. I said, I don't want to cause any problems. And she goes, oh, no. She said, I don't want my best friend to sell me a house because I don't want to cause any problems. She goes, I want somebody who's not my friend to sell me a house. I go, well, here's my goal. We're going to get you a house. I said, and I'm going to be your friend at the end of it.
There you go.
Yeah. So I thought that was a really interesting perspective. She didn't want her friend to do it.
Yeah. And I think, you know, if you have a friend who doesn't want to use you, I don't know if they have the, you know, if they feel comfortable sharing that with you.
Mm-hmm.
If they don't feel comfortable using you, refer it out and then get the referral fee. And if you have friends who have best friends, but they're too busy and they don't want to bother them, just be like, tell you what, I'd be happy to take it on. You know, this is what I do for a living. How about I reach out to Susie for you? And I'll just tell her, hey, Anna, she loves you, blah, blah, blah. She didn't want to bother you because she was busy, but we're working together. How about I give you a referral fee and you don't have to lift a thumb. I'll take care of her and she still gets paid. And then if they agree to that, then you go ahead and roll with it. That's another thought.
Yeah.
And then you just can't take it personally because people have their reasons. They might have started looking already. They might already be working with another agent. Their spouse might have somebody, their family member. They might be going through a discount broker. You know, you just got to keep going. Keep your, remember why you're doing it. And setbacks are just part of it. If it was easy, we'd all be doing it, right?
Yeah.
Right.
So it's going to suck though. It's not always going to work out. But if you're in a situation where you're if you want to talk some more, a specific situation comes up, reach out to me and I can give you my opinion and thoughts on how I would approach it. Or if you want me to talk to them, or if you're feeling not confident, and I know Shelly, you're on a team with Rhonda, you probably have the gunpowder and confidence, but Steve, for you, if you're feeling I don't know, I don't feel confident, just remember that we're all a team technically. Go get the business and then figure out how to get it done later, and then pull in who you need to. When I get $1 million lead, I call Jimmy Welch. Hey Jimmy, can you help me on this? Because on my own, I'm oh, I don't know if I can do this. But with Jimmy backing me up, I'm oh man, he's got this. And that gives me a whole lot more confidence. And so I think if you guys know that, even if you're new and you don't know what you're talking about and you think because I have friends who will tell me oh, my friend so-and-so just got licensed and she's asking for business. She doesn't even know anything. I would never hire her. Some people are just like that. They need you to prove a track record. You're going to be around for 3, 4, 5, 6, whatever years. You know what you're doing. And it takes time to build that expertise and confidence. But if you're hey, I just started, but our team has done so many deals and we've been around for 20 something years. Speak we. It's never just we.
And even if you're not part of a team, it's still we, because you have every agent at Keller Williams behind
That's
you.
right.
Yep.
That's right.
The very first contract I wrote in the office, I ran out in the hall. I saw Pam Rodrigo and I grabbed her and said, Pam, read this over for me real quick. Did I get it right? And she's like, it looks good. So yeah, leverage, don't be afraid to ask. And people are busy, I just go down the list. I'm like, who can I call? Who would know this? Who would know this? You know, like I just texted Robin the other day about school districts. I was like, Robin works with a lot of buyers. She has kids. She should know. Yeah. So.
Yeah, I have clients here relocating from New York to Shelby County because I live in Shelbyville. And my best friend's husband is I don't know what his real title is, but he's the dean of students for the county.
Nice.
And yeah, so my clients were like, I want my son to go to this one specific high school, but it's not apparent because they just redistricted here a couple years ago. It's not always apparent which school matches up with which part of the county. So he taught me the trick because it's kind of hidden, but he taught me the trick of how to look up the addresses and how to match them up to which school that the kids will feed to. So that's a great trick. I have to say for Shelby County, yeah.
Okay.
I don't know if it works like that in Jefferson County because I just don't get how their schools work there, but it works really great here. Really great here.
I will reach out if I have any Shelby County school
Got it.
questions.
Yeah, because well, you know, people here are like, I want to go to this school or I want my kid to go to that school. And there's no map that says, here's the line.
Yeah.
You have to kind of know. And even living, I mean, my son goes to Shelby County High School. You know, but even living here, I don't know where all the stuff is. So yeah, if you guys ever need help with that, let me know.
For sure.
Sure.
And yeah, one great way of reminding your friends that you do real estate is like, you know, social media, post 1 or 2 real estate, 3 or 4 personal stuff, kind of weave it in, to subtly remind people you do real estate. And you guys can look up my Facebook if you want. I'll put it in the chat. And one thing I do is I do video, but that's just something that works for me. You don't have to do that. But I think it's because people are more receptive when they see and hear me. So I'm
That's
not really
something
great
that
on the phone.
she's built as part of her brand
Mhm.
that her clients recognize. So she has to keep doing it because she's done it on such a high level.
I want to get with you because that's one thing I want to do.
Yeah, for
Okay,
sure.
me
And
too.
I could be improving
Me
on it too. Okay. Yeah, just you can, they're on my Facebook page, so you can like go and run through them. But so right now I'm doing like videos for my listings, but my plan is to expand into like other informative videos and maybe doing more videos like when I'm introducing myself to people, like texting or emailing it to them. Because my conversion rate over the phone is really not that great. Because when you're over the phone, it's a lot of factors. You need to have your scripts down. You know, they need to be in the right position to receive you. But I feel like when they can see me and hear what I'm saying, then they're more like, oh, okay, she seems like nice and she knows what she's talking about. I mean, so.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
I mean, Linda, you're on the team, so you're probably making a lot of phone calls to cold leads and converting them, you know, with your
Well,
script.
and converting cold, you know, converting cold leads and internet leads, that's not my strength.
Not mine either. I
It's-
cannot comment on that.
Yeah, I think face to face and
Agreed.
what have you that's my strength and that's where I excel.
Yeah.
So who does well that we know? Who does well at converting old internet leads, cold calls? Who does a good job at that?
Shelley, I can give you a couple of names on my team.
Okay.
Rachel and Taylor
Okay,
both do that at a really high level.
great. Because I suck at it too. So I would like to know what they're doing to be better. Because I'm definitely more of a in-person, let's build that relationship person as opposed to just being on the phone kind of girl.
Yeah. I'd say Robin is really good. She's like consistently, like some people on Brad Long's team go to look at all the groups or like the teams and see who's like the top performers there. Or Krista will tell you.
Yeah, Robin trained Steve and I on internet leads, and she's a savage. I mean, it doesn't mean anything. It doesn't matter how old they are. I mean, but Robin also runs a schedule that is very intimidating for a lot of people, even for me. And so, you know, she would call through all of her realtor.com leads. She had about 600. She would call every single one once a week. She had a
Wow.
day she just made those calls. She also texts them 3 times a week and emails them twice a week. So like,
Holy.
yeah, I mean, it's nuts. But that's how with old leads, she keeps them engaged but she'll flat out tell you she's had leads for 4 years that have never said anything.
Sure.
That she keeps working on. And she's also had leads for 5 years that they send an email one day and want to see a house, and that's all they ever say. Yeah, it's crazy. But yeah, so she'd be someone on a very high level, but just be aware, like, working old internet leads takes a lot of time, and would your time be better spent working on newer leads? Yes.
Sure.
And also
Yeah.
working on word of mouth.
And I will say something too, as far as like investing, is like if you have a niche, whether it's a neighborhood or a club that you're a part of or church or something, work it. So for me, I work my face, you know, I'm Asian. And so I will go to the Chinese restaurants and the Asian stores and I'll pop my cards. And I know, like, you know, almost every Asian business owner in town. I drive by a Chinese restaurant, I don't know them, I walk in, I give them my card. And but I will say that it required me to a lot of investment in building myself, because there's a cultural difference. I mean, I understand it to an extent, but they're like real Asians, like from the motherland, and I'm like raised in America. So there was like learning how they negotiate, learning the language and how to communicate with them, learning how they work. But I knew that their average price point was higher. They're usually buying homes 200 to 300, more or less. They're strong buyers, and I know what the challenges are that they have. You know, sometimes it's the language, sometimes it's not understanding the mortgage process, because a lot of them, when they file their taxes, they take very little pay, but they're sitting on so much cash. You need to understand how to navigate a lot of those things. But that's things that, like, when I chose to work with this community, I chose to also learn all these things, right? And so that's like a part of my business too. And plus I know, like, you know, the representation that they have is junk. Like, if you can't communicate with somebody and like the way that the agents, you know, that they're choosing are not doing them the best job, then, you know, I owe it to them to service them. So anyways, that's like one niche that I do work on. And like with the investors, it's a lot of work. I have to run so many comps. And so that's something that you have to decide too. Like, are you willing to put in the work to work this niche and develop this relationship with somebody? But I'm seeing fruit, because this wholesaler, I get first dibs on all his deals because I'm the one running the numbers.
Nice.
You know, and so I already know, I see the location, I see the house, and I'm like, I'd be interested in this one. Guess who gets first dibs? I do. And you think that guy appreciates me and he wouldn't want to do something good for me. And that's why he sends me all the leads that don't work out. And if it's something I want, he lets me have it first.
Nice. Jessica, do you speak any other languages?
Yeah, I speak Cantonese and Mandarin. So if you see someone who looks like me with a very thick accent, and you just don't understand or can't, prefer not to deal with it,
Sure.
just, you know.
It's good to know, though, that you speak other languages. That's cool.
Yeah.
And that Mandarin is fairly recent, isn't it?
Yeah, so it was about 4 years ago. I think I had to make the decision. I was at a fork in the road because my dad wasn't going to stop referring Chinese clients to me, and they'll tell each other, like, Jessica does a good job. And so I had to, like, I didn't feel comfortable enough. Like, I knew enough conversationally, but not enough real estate. So I made the decision to learn it. And it was so hard because, like, what I would do is I would just like walk into a house and I would let them hear them speak, and I would just take notes and like write down the pronunciation and what I thought they were saying. Like, they would point to the carpet and be like, Ditan. And I'd be like, oh, that's carpet, you know, and I'd write Ditan. And then like they would go out to the backyard and say, oh, yuan很大. And I'd be like, oh, they're probably saying the backyard is big, right? So I would like guess what they were saying. And then I would go home, look up everything that I learned. I would like add it to the dictionary. And then sometimes I would be too embarrassed to say like they're talking too fast or I couldn't understand their accent. So I would learn the phrase, I'm so sorry, the reception is bad. I can't really hear you. Do you mind texting me what you just said? And they would text me in Chinese, and I would plug it into Google Translate through and read it, play it. And that's how I learned. But that was, I don't know, that was the most efficient way. but I knew
It worked
that
for you. It worked for you.
yeah, and now I can like, you know, talk, and I see this so much because these conversations are pretty much the same. You know, when someone says, I want to buy a house, I'm like, okay, are you pre-approved? Are you paying cash? Do you need me to refer someone to you? When are you looking to buy? Tell me about what your house needs to be. And then you just kind of learn, and I like throw it in context, but like, I know that's unrealistic for most of you guys, but for me, it was like, I already had that foundation. I just had to build on it, but it was a choice that I made because I knew that you can't benefit from, you know, you can only benefit from learning another language, like increasing your fluency in that way. And it's very useful when you travel. And, you know, I opened up my pool of buyers too. And so I didn't want language to be the thing that held me back from it. So I am actually more like, I know a lot of the real estate terms now, and I can understand most of it. And it's not like, I'm not sophisticated yet, but it's like increasing every day. I know enough to get someone from beginning to close. So
Awesome.
I'm so sorry, Jessica. Thank you so much for taking time. I've got a call that I've got to make at 11, so I'm going to have to hop off here, but thank you for sharing.
yeah, well, thank you for joining, Linda. Good luck on your call.
Thank
Bye.
you. Y'all have a good
Bye.
weekend.
Bye. So yeah, whatever that niche looks like to you and their challenges, if you're willing to meet that and invested time into it, it could pay off for you.
Great. Very cool. I will definitely remember that you speak those two languages because I think, first of all, I'm super impressed, but second of all, it would be great, just great to work with somebody like that. So
Yeah, definitely.
awesome. Very
Well,
good.
it's 11. We've had a really great
Time flew.
discussion. Yeah, this was
Yeah.
fun, wasn't it?
It was
And
really
you guys
fun.
talked the whole time.
Well, and it was
Imagine that.
really good. I really very much enjoyed it. I really did. Thank you very
So-
much.
Oh, my pleasure. So what were some of your